All right, let's speak about that title. If you are an older man who engages in masturbation, I am sorry to have to tell you this. It is intended to attract your attention for a very significant purpose, and I am aware that it may seem worrisome to you. On the other hand, I want to make it quite clear right off the bat. This is not about shame. This has nothing to do with passing judgment. The purpose of this is to have an open and honest talk with an adult about a subject that is frequently buried beneath a wall of silence. Our society does not place a lot of emphasis on discussing intercourse and becoming older, particularly with regard to men. It is either regarded as a joke or as something that should be completely disregarded out of respect. The fact of the matter is, however, that our intercourse is something that we hold throughout our entire lives. Therefore, having an awareness of it is an essential component of our total health. Now, from a physical and psychological point of view, we're going to investigate what actually takes place in your body and mind when you engage in masturbation after the age of 50. Not only will we explore the significant benefits that are rarely brought up, but we will also elaborate on the essential caution that is concealed in the title. This is a warning that every guy ought to be aware of. In order for us to have a conversation discourse, we must first have an understanding of the changes that occur in the male body after the age of 50. Alterations that are natural, and I emphasize the word natural, are brought about by the process of aging. The levels of hormones, particularly testosterone, start to gradually decrease progressively. There may be a shift in your physical responses. It could be that it takes longer to become aroused, or that feelings feel different than they did when you were 25 or 35 years old. However, this is not a failure. It's nothing more than physiology. One of the most widespread types of misunderstanding is that desire just disappears. No, it does not. It undergoes genesis. It's possible that the way you experience desire, the frequency of it, and the things that set it off will change with time. When this happens, the act of masturbation, often known as self-pleasure, transforms into something more than just a physical pleasure. In this way, it transforms into a powerful and private instrument for self-discovery. It provides a situation in which there is no pressure to understand the new rhythms and patterns that your body is experiencing. Without the expectations that are frequently associated with intercourse activity with a partner, it is a way to maintain a connection to your own intercourse on your own terms. There is a personal conversation taking place with yourself. Furthermore, this conversation comes with considerable health benefits that are rarely brought up in conversation. Given that this is the point at which the talk begins to transition from being taboo to being therapeutic, let's break them down. Let's start with the physical advantages. The practice of masturbating on a regular basis is beneficial to the vascular health of the genital region. Think of it as a form of exercise for the tissues that are the most sensitive. The increased blood flow contributes to the preservation of the health and suppleness of the blood vessels and tissues, which is essential for preventing atrophy and preserving the ability to sustain an erection. In point of fact, it is one of the most direct ways to maintain the health and responsiveness of that particular region of your body. When it comes to maintaining the health and responsiveness of that particular portion of your body, this is of the utmost importance. Numerous men are unaware of the fact that the health of a certain smooth muscle within the body is a fundamental component of erections that are strong and persist for an extended period of time. It has been discovered that there is a fascinating finding regarding a completely natural home approach that can be used in just 7 seconds to support this specific function. This method helps to restore blood flow and firmness without the need of medications or injections. The fundamental physical mechanism that we have just been discussing is addressed by this alternative method, which is a different approach. Let's talk about the psychological benefits, which are equally as essential as the physical benefits. There are a lot of men who experience a gradual decline in their self-confidence or a shift in their perspective of their own body as they become older. Self-acceptance can be profoundly expressed through the act of masturbation. A modest confirmation that your body is still a source of joy and energy is what this message is all about. Not only does it increase one's self-esteem, but it also reinforces a positive body image. Additionally, it is a beneficial instrument for the regulation of one's emotions. Life is full with tension, whether it be from work, family, or concerns about one's health. The release of pent-up emotional energy through the physical act of masturbation is a significant benefit. And finally, it provides a sense of agency at a point in your life when you may feel as though you have less influence over your health or your profession. When it comes to matters of pleasure and health, there is one area in which you have complete control over your behavior. This represents a reclaiming of one's personal agency. Now that we have a better understanding of all of these significant advantages, it is time to discuss the reasons behind the title of this video. Specifically, the part where I say, "I'm sorry to say this." The last thing I want to do is instill dread in people, but it would be irresponsible of me not to do so. I sincerely apologize for having to communicate this information. It is not the act of masturbating itself that poses a threat and danger. Compulsive behavior is where the risk rests. It is possible for any action, particularly a pleasurable one, to begin to cause harm when it crosses the threshold from being a conscious decision to being a compulsive habit. First, let's talk about the dangers to your body. One can develop a condition known as desensitization if they engage in excessive or extremely aggressive masturbating, despite the fact that moderate masturbation is considered to be healthy. Think about listening to music with the volume turned up to its highest possible level. At some point, you will require it to be that loud in order to hear it. In a similar vein, if the nerves in the genital region are repeatedly stimulated at a very high intensity, they may become less receptive to the typical touch that is applied to them. It is possible that this will make it more challenging to reach arousal or orgasm with a partner, or even by yourself, which can result in feelings of frustration and anxiety. The psychological risk, on the other hand, is the more significant one. The moment that this occurs, masturbation transforms into a form of emotional anesthesia. One can acquire a boost of dopamine and escape from difficult feelings in a quick and dependable manner by using this method. Are you experiencing feelings of isolation, anxiety, grief over a loss, or depression? When someone is in agony, compulsive masturbation can become a coping technique that they turn to in order to numb the discomfort without ever addressing the root of the pain. It offers a short-term solution, but in the long run, it has the potential to make the cycle of isolation even more severe. Rather than reaching out to a friend, going on a stroll, or addressing the source of your anxiety, you turn inward and engage in a behavior that, while it may provide you with some level of comfort, also leaves you isolated from the rest of the world. Because of this, the third risk is the neglect of lifestyle choices. At the point where masturbation becomes the dominant source of comfort and entertainment, it has the potential to begin to push out other key components of a life that is both healthy and fulfilling. It has the potential to lessen your enthusiasm to participate in social activities, pursue hobbies, exercise, or even keep relationships with other people. These are the very things that have been shown to be effective in warding off feelings of isolation and maintaining mental and physical acuity in our later years. When one habit takes precedence over another, the remainder of a life that is balanced can start to deteriorate. Now, what is the next step to take? The solution can be summed up in a single term: equilibrium. In the framework of a healthy existence in general, a healthy intercourse life, which includes experiences of self-pleasure, is possible. Not stopping is the point here. Awareness is the key to success. Authentic introspection is the key to success. It is important to make sure that masturbation is used to your advantage rather than the other way around. Along with maintaining social connections, engaging in physical activity, engaging in cerebral stimulation, and maintaining a nutritious diet, it ought to be one of the many tools in your toolkit for well-being. Additionally, if you have any reason to believe that it has become a means of coping with recurrent feelings of loneliness or sadness, it is important to understand that seeking treatment from a therapist or a doctor is not a show of weakness, but rather of strength. Masturbation is a normal, natural, and, when practiced mindfully, incredibly helpful component of a man's life at any age. Let's make this crystal obvious so that we can wrap this up. It is a technique for achieving health, relieving stress, and gaining self-knowledge. For the men who may have inadvertently let this good practice to become a compulsive escape, one that is preventing them from living a life that is richer and more connected. The phrase "I'm sorry" is included in the title of the book. The risk is not the act itself, but rather the loss of equilibrium. Self-respect can be demonstrated by accepting and embracing your intercourse throughout your entire life. Practice self-compassion, wisdom, and awareness as you carry out this task.